got to give him credit for facing the smoke today.
Yeah, he's coming into the gauntlet here. It's my guy Amin Elhassan, one of the best follows on social media on Twitter /X at Darth Amin, joining us here on the Drive Guys, Sactown Sports 1140. Amin, what's up, my guy? How you doing, man?
This is the funniest thing because Kyle talked to me like months ago. Hey, when you would come on the show, I said, anytime you want, man, we'll get on the show anytime you want. And then proceeded to not hit me for months and months. And then Saturday happens and I get like a frantic text, DM, not even a text. He's like, hey, this is your number, right? I'm like, yeah, man, it's my number. What's up? Like, yo, could you come on the show? I said, yeah, because of you, Kyle, I'm coming on the show.
How about that?
Hey, that if I'm correct, that's perfect timing. That's great producing. Hold you for when you're hot. You're at your peak right now, big dog. So we're gonna have you on the show.
Let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready.
Hey, man, let's talk about the video that's circulating around the world right now. It's trending on social media, on Twitter. You taking a jump shot from the corner. You miss everything.
Athletes Unlimited Celebrity Hoops Classic in Dallas.
Exactly. Tell me about the shot. Explain yourself. What happened?
Okay, so first of all, I do want to shout out Athletes Unlimited that they had me out there for their celebrity game. It was a lot of fun. They honored Cheryl Swoops at the game. I got to play against some WNBA legends, including Marie Ferdinand Harris, which was a lot of fun. So I had a great time in Dallas for this. All right, that video was from before the game started, and I was getting some shots up from the corner, and I didn't know that my guy Miles was behind me. He was sitting right behind me with his phone out. And so I had made a couple of shots, and so he pulled his phone out because like, oh, that's cool. Let's get Amin making some shots and put that on there. So when he hit record, the first one I shot was the one that y'all saw. So he said, oh, this is even better. And so that's what happened. As far as why my hand did that, I don't shoot like that. I don't feel the need to defend myself too hard because I have a lot of friends who are in the media, friends who are former NBA players, friends who are current NBA players, friends who are NBA coaches, people, comedians, actors, musicians have all hooped with me back when I used to hoop like 6-7 years ago. And they know what my shot looks like. It doesn't look like that. But as my good friend Trayvon Edwards always says, jokes over facts. And so, look, if it was one of y'all and I saw that video, I'd be doing the same thing everybody's doing right now, making jokes. So,
I got to ask you. When I first saw it, I thought there's something wrong with that guy's wrist. And it turns out, I know one of your explanations, you said that you actually do have a wrist injury you're dealing with, right?
Yeah, so I do, but that's not why I shot like that, man. I don't know why my hand did what it did. I'm gonna be real. Like the video I had, that was my good friends Teresa Foster Bradley and Christine Williams, both of them do an excellent job covering women's basketball, whether it's WNBA, whether it's AU hoops, whether it's women's college basketball. Follow both of them on social, but they were doing like, oh, we're gonna do the post game. And now I'd come to them and seen, hey, what's going on after the game or whatever, and they said, man, you haven't checked your phone, have you? And I said, no, I've been playing in the game. What happened? And so here's the funny, you guys are gonna love this. Late in the game, we're down, we're trying to make a comeback, and we got to stop. I leak up court. My man Merrick Alexander hits me with a hit ahead, and I know once I catch this, I have one defender to beat, and there's a wide open layup. So as the ball's coming to me, I take my eye off the ball to look at where that defender is so I know which way to attack. And I didn't catch the ball. It goes out of bounds. And I was crushed because it was a clutch moment. It was a bad turnover. I thought that's what they had recorded and put online. So then I looked at my phone and I was like, oh, Lord, it's so much work. So that video was like the post-game video. So I said, I'm going to have fun with it. But the reality is, like I said, man, it ain't because of my wrist. It ain't because of my pinky finger. Like I said, I don't shoot like that.
It's just a bad shot.
It was just a bad shot. And what I said is, it's like, the thing that was trending the last couple of weeks. We done with the 90s. Look at Michael Jordan. He can't even dribble with his left hand. We done with the 90s. Look at Isaiah Thomas. He airballed the layup. Like, I know those moments are not representative of those players. So I know the same thing's happening to me. Someone took the one thing.
So are you talking? You putting yourself in Jordan and Isaiah? Is that what I just heard? You mentioned yourself in Jordan and Isaiah in the same sentence.
Yes, Kyle. Me, Zeke, and Michael Jordan. I'm the tie that binds them both. I'm the one that can repair that relationship. Hey, fellas, we've all been through the same thing. So let's all bond over this and become friends once again.
Right. Oh, man. The thing I like, Amin, is you embrace it, though. You know what I mean? You make fun of it. And, you know, if you check Amin's timeline right now, there are some great comebacks about your shot. And people, you know, James Unworthy and all
Jay Mayo.
No Jay Mayo. Like, how has that been for you?
Do you have a favorite?
Cedric Airbalos is another good one. Matthew Ginobili, Robert Horrible. There's been a lot. And here's my guiding principle, and this is how people know. Because I'm a guy who likes to make jokes on people. I'm a guy who likes to think that if the joke is funny, there's no such thing as a bad joke. If it's funny, it's funny. If it hits, it hits. And so when something like this happens, and I'm looking at my timeline, and I'm legitimately laughing because these are so funny. Between that or the people saying they look like he's throwing up gang signs. One of my friends is a coach for an undisclosed NBA team. I'm not going to say who, but he sent me a Photoshop, I think that he did, of the famous picture from the 90s of the Crips and the Bloods holding up the Tide rags together. And they got me up there throwing up gang signs in the background. So it's funny, man. Like, I'm going to sit here and be in my feelings over something that's legitimately funny. No. Are some of them not funny? Yeah. Particularly the ones where people are really upset. And that's the weird part to me. Some people are watching this video, instead of laughing and clowning, they're like, "Oh, I can't believe this guy has the nerve." I'm like, "Why are you so upset, man? It's funny. Make fun of me. Tell me I look like Martin saying, 'What's up?' Like, do something like that. Tell me I'm throwing up a pizza dough in the air. Tell me I look like I'm in a Bollywood movie doing a dance. Tell me something like that. Don't be mad at me because I have a job critiquing your favorite player, your favorite team, or your favorite city, whatever it is."
Yeah. Speaking of that, Amin Elhassan, nice enough to join us. I know you heard from a few people here in Sacramento. Wanted to circle back to the Ja's who De'Aaron Fox thinks he is. Mm-hmm. Do you still think that was that legitimate at the time you said it? And has your opinion of Fox's name and game changed since then?
The second question is easier and quicker to answer. Of course it's changed because he's changed. He's gotten better. Right? That's undeniable, right? So that, of course, he's played great. When the All-Stars were named and he wasn't originally named as one of him and Sabonis, I was like, this is ridiculous. Both of those guys should be All-Stars. They're playing on one of the best teams in the West. They're putting up great numbers. They should be All-Stars. There's no part of this that is ever personal for me. There's never a part where I'm going to watch somebody ball out there, but I don't like him, so I'm going to say he's not that good. That's ridiculous. That's not my job, is to catch feelings. Now, in my criticisms, can I be harsh for comedic effect? Absolutely. Zion Williamson is one of my favorite players in the league when he's healthy, when he's out there. He also has had a weight problem. I'm going to make fun of his weight problem as long as it's a problem. Once he's balling and it's not a problem, as he's been recently, then it ceases to be something I go to as often. Now, when it comes to what I said about Ja and De'Aaron, you got to understand, it's hard for people to remember now, but I'm going to put you back in that space. The Kings have been awful for years. De'Aaron Fox, while an individual talent, was not showing the ability to A, lift his team to be better despite them having talent, and B, he defensively was not committed on that side of the ball. I think we can all agree to that. As talented as he is, no one's saying he was a scrub. I never said he couldn't play. I just said, like, compared to another young point guard around the same age, this dude has started to figure out things on the court that Fox had not figured out. Now, what happened was, in that segment, it's a segment where we have like 24 seconds to answer. And typically what Rachel Nichols would do is she would throw the question to one person, and then the other person would jump in at the end and just say something fast. I'm going maximum comedic effect. I got one line in, right? Paul Pierce answered the question. Mm-hmm. I jumped in with Ja Morant is who De'Aaron Fox thinks he is, right? Okay. That clip goes out. De'Aaron Fox gets upset, calls me a, you know what? Yep. I ain't going to ruin the FCC thing right here. But I said to him, hey, man, like, your team is terrible. But you know what? If I'm wrong, then I'll come out and, I'll pay penance. But my guess is y'all ain't going to be playing on April, or it's actually May 15th because it's the COVID year. So my guess is y'all ain't going to be playing on this day, so we could still meet up on that day. And everybody laughed and clowned because he used the B word. I never called him out his name, but it's all good because I understand how the internet works. We can have our laughs. That season ended. Where did the Kings end up? Bad. Okay. Next season, where did the Kings end up? Bad. He's individually great, but he's not doing the thing. Meanwhile, where are the Grizzlies ending up? Better and better, right? So then last
But Amin, you can't say that. But Amin, look at the talent on the Grizzlies at the time, and look at the talent on the Kings.
No,
you wanted De'Aaron to lift up this squad like he's LeBron with the Cavaliers back in 2008.
I'm saying two things here, Kyle. I'm saying one, his talent is undeniable, and two, that team, while not as talented as the Grizzlies were, also, I think we can all agree we're underachieving. How do I know? Because then you get a coaching change. Coach Brown comes up from Golden State, brings his staff with him, gets De'Aaron to buy into defense, gets the team to buy into playing a certain way, and success happens. Now, is it all Coach Brown? No. De'Aaron Fox became a better basketball player. And at that point, I said, you know what? Hats off to him. I'm never taking this stuff personally. It's never like I'm not rooting for De'Aaron Fox to do badly. Quite the opposite. I think the league is better when we have teams everywhere who are doing well. All I'm going to say in my defense is Ja Morant was pretty damn good at the time, too. Don't act like he was. I compared him to Patrick Beverly or something. I compared him to one of the best players in the league and said, I think he's better, was basically my point. And I think I was right for those 2 years. Obviously, Ja's gotten into some troubles that have kind of unraveled his career since then, while De'Aaron has risen. And that's all good because at the end of the day, I'm not sitting here saying anybody's going to be garbage forever. I never called them garbage. I never called them trash. I never called them weak. Now, here's where things go left, right? I said what I said, and if anyone had asked me for this explanation, I would have given an explanation. I've given it a million times on different podcasts. Some local people in Sacramento took my words as an offense and started attacking me. And they didn't care what I had to say after that. They just wanted to be like, oh, I hate this Amin guy. Which, again, if you're a media person covering the local team, we're not talking about someone like Kyle Draper, employed by the Sacramento Kings, working on their broadcast, working on their play-by-play. I'm talking about some local radio yahoos. Y'all not supposed to be riding out like I insulted your mama. You might say, hey, Amin, you're wrong, but they riding hard. So I was like, you know what, man? I'm not going to give them the time of day to even deign to give the explanation that I've given here and I've given multiple places elsewhere.
Let me ask you this, because I was in Phoenix the last couple of trips. Mm-hmm. I've seen you courtside. We chopped it up courtside. Mm-hmm. Have you and De'Aaron ever squashed it or sort of just explained your point of view to him or seen each other, anything like that? Because you're my guy. D Fox is definitely my guy. And I want to have you back on the radio again. I want to invite you to Sac to see what we got going on. Have you guys ever spoken about it and had a come to Jesus kind of moment about it?
That's a great question. I have never spoken to De'Aaron Fox in my life other than that Instagram comment exchange, right? My general philosophy is when I say things that make people upset, I go to games, and as you saw me, Colin, that's not the first time you see me courtside at a game, before a game when guys are warming up. If a guy feels like coming up to me and talking, I will talk. But I'm never going to be like, hey, man, I'm the guy that said that. That's kind of clownish behavior to me. So I've had situations where guys have come. Austin Rivers once came up to me, and we talked and we hashed it out because I used to be hard on Austin when he was going through his stuff. I've never shied away from it. Patrick Beverly's come up to me and tried to talk and then mid-sentence walked away. But again, I made myself available. Matt Barnes, way back in the day, DM'd me about like, hey, man, we need to talk. I made myself available, and we talked. So to me, it's never personal. If someone has a problem, wants to discuss it, I always discuss. The other thing I would say, Kyle, you're my guy. Jonesy is my guy. Coach Brown is my guy. Coach Barbosa is my guy. Wes Wilcox, in the front office, is my guy. I have no shortage of people in Sacramento that I know and love in that organization. So this isn't a case where y'all might think, don't da-da-da. Like, I'm very well loved and respected, and I know people. If he wants to talk to me, I will be happy to talk to him. And you know what? If he had wanted to talk to me then, I would have talked to him then. And he might have told me some stuff that I'd be like, oh, you know what, man? Maybe I was a little too harsh on you. My bad. But, like, he chose a route that he chose, and I'm not mad at him. That's his prerogative. But to me, it's not on me to make someone who's upset feel good. I feel great. I'm all right with De'Aaron Fox. If he wants to be all right with me, he can come talk to me. If he doesn't, he's like, the hell with that guy. That's fine, too.
I mean, why do you think De'Aaron and especially Sabonis this year don't get the recognition that their play deserves from many members of the national media?
I think there are a couple of things. Obviously, we got to start with the Western Conference is an uncommonly deep and talented this year. We're talking about, when we talk about the teams in the play in Dallas, Phoenix, Golden State, and the Lakers, these are all heavy Hall of Fame ridden teams, but also teams that before the season people thought, hey, I thought y'all would be doing better, right? And Sacramento's not that far ahead of them. I think they're actually tied with the Mavs in terms of record, but they got the tiebreaker. But the reality is all the teams that I named have guys that have been like household names. Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, LeBron James, Anthony Davis. Those are household names. Sacramento, and this is the gift and the curse of the NBA, is when you're winning, that's when people start paying attention to you. And Sacramento's only been winning for 2 years now, last year and this year. So that makes it harder for, I think, people in general to recognize something that they still feel is new, as opposed to the things that we've seen over and over again.
Amin Elhassan joining the Drive, guys. Sactown Sports 1140. You know, we like to, at least me and Whitey, we talk about the rise of the Denver Nuggets and how it took time, you know, and it was a series of moves. You've been a front office guy. How difficult and how important, I guess, is it to make the correct moves at the right time? The Aaron Gordon thing, dropping into their lap, basically. Getting KCP, which was huge. You know, you can have the star players, but you need those ancillary guys. You know, we got Monty McNair and Wes Wilcox here. And I think a lot of people are looking at them. All right, so what Denver did, let's try and do that if you're Sacramento.
Absolutely. So the number one thing that is in absolute rarity in the NBA right now is continuity. There's a knee-jerk reaction. If things didn't go exactly the way I wanted to go, we got to change everything. What Denver has is immense continuity. Coach Malone has been there a very long time. By the way, Coach Malone, who should have never left Sacramento, if we're going to be real. That's a guy who could have been and should have been your head coach right now. It seems like he's going to be the head coach of Denver Nuggets for as long as he wants to. But they stuck by him, is even when they had an embarrassing end-of-the-season loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. The winner would go to the playoffs, the loser goes home. They lost that one. There's so many franchises that will be like, well, Coach Malone, you didn't get it done. Even though we know you're about your business, even though you know the locker room respects you and follows you, even though your X's and O's are sound, but you didn't get it done, so you got to go. That's how a lot of NBA teams do business. The Denver Nuggets chose to reinvest and believe in their coach, in their star players, and when the opportunity was right, added the right pieces. You mentioned KCP. You mentioned Aaron Gordon, which is a huge deal. I'll throw in a Bruce Brown. Picking up Bruce Brown last year was a huge move for them. And so as people look to Denver, like, how can we be like Denver? I would say the number one thing you got to have is patience. You got to have patience to know, hey, do I have a good coach? And I would say Sacramento has a great coach in Coach Brown. So you know he's a good coach. You know the team follows him, believes in him, respects him, right? You know he's well prepared. You know his staff is varied on all the different elements, whether it's analytics, whether it's player development, whether it's X's and O's, sub-patterns. We've got everything covered. So we've got a good team. His young players, last year was their first time at the rodeo. That's how it usually looks. When the first time in the rodeo, you're running on piss and vinegar, and all of a sudden you play against that old lion. And in Game 7, we saw that old lion bare its claws and its teeth, and all of a sudden it's like, oh yeah, I saw this. You know, I was talking about this last year. De'Aaron Fox, great player, but you got to remember De'Aaron Fox in 2015 and 2016, he was like a high school student, maybe a freshman in college or whatever. Like, the things that he saw Steph Curry do, shoot from half court against Oklahoma City and destroy New Orleans and all that stuff. This kid saw it as a kid in school, and now all of a sudden you playing in the game. It's like, oh, it's happening to me. This isn't just something that I saw in a movie once upon a time. I'm in the movie, and Freddy Krueger's doing what he's doing. So there's a part of this. It's always, when it's your first time at the rodeo, it's always going to be tough. So there has to be a level of patience. Like, they've got to go through it. They got to experience that heartbreak, and learn and grow from it. And along the way, you make little tweaks. If I might go back a couple of decades, the Sacramento Kings have been bad a long time. And then Rick Adelman and Vlade Divac and Chris Webber and Jason Williams come to save the day. They made basketball fun again. They go to the playoffs. The first 2 games, they got blown out. And Chris Webber was like, I guess our season is over. Remember that? Everyone went crazy. And then they won game 3 and they won game 4, but they lost game 5. And what happened? That heartache turned into, we're better next year. And then that next year, what's the tweak? Trade Jason Williams, beloved and great player, bring in Mike Bibby. And Mike Bibby takes the team to another level. So this is part of it, and Sacramento as a city should know it better than anybody, because y'all went through it 2 decades ago with those great teams under Coach Adelman.
I mean, last question here. When I look at the Western Conference, everybody talks about how tough it is, how difficult. But outside of Denver, I see a lot of warts with these teams. I could go down the list. Minnesota, the cat injury. OKC, the youth and inexperience. The Clippers, not sure what's going on with them. How wide open is the West right now?
I'm going to tell you like this, Kyle. I'll put Denver on that list of warts too, even though they've been playing out of their minds since the All-Star break. But here's the thing. They are still relying on a very short bench that has a lot of young, unproven guys. And games in February and March are cool and fun, and we're running around. You get to April, May, and June, it's a different story. And that experience either comes out and crumbles you, or you gain it along the way, and now you're ready. I'm not trying to throw Peyton Watson and Zeke Naji and these guys under the bus, telling them they're not going to be ready. I'm just saying we don't know if they're going to be ready until we see them do it. And until that happens, you have to say, look, Denver starting 5 is the best probably starting 5 in the league. But once they get to 6, 7, 8, they're vulnerable. And that vulnerability is all a team needs. Now, which team is going to be the one that exploits it? I don't know, but we'll see. I think the West is incredibly wide open. I would say OKC, their youth, Denver, their lack of depth, Minnesota, the cat injury, the Clippers. Again, their lack of size is a huge issue. New Orleans, their health, can they stay healthy? Sacramento is another one where it's like, can they stay healthy? And can everybody learn from our past experience? Dallas, can they defend? Phoenix, can they get a point guard? Golden State, can they get their lives together? The Lakers, is Anthony Davis going to be healthy? So everyone's got questions. Right. But on any given night, I think any one of those teams could beat the other team if everything lines up right.
I mean, we appreciate your time. And I got to tell you, I was listening to you on Sirius XM one morning a couple of years ago, and it was the day after, I think, Raymond Ritter had given you a tour of Chase Center, and you were raving about it. And I've gotten that same tour, so I know what you're talking about. But have you? I'm wondering the arena here it's even better, even though it's not as new. Have you been to the Golden One Center?
Look, this is one of my big regrets. I've never been to Golden One. I've been to Arco. I've never been to Golden One. I wanted to come out last year. I was gonna come out for game 1 last year, and then I had like a family conflict.
Sure.
So my hope is, because I know Mike Schur, the creator of Parks and Recreation and the creator of The Good Place and so many other great TV shows. He's a big Kings fan on the side. He's a Celtics fan, but he calls the Kings his West Coast team. He wanted me to fly with him to Sacramento. Yeah, he's huge. He loves the Kings. He wanted me to come to a game with him during the playoffs last year. I'm gonna get with Mike. We're gonna come out this year during the playoffs. Nice. And we're gonna. And I want to tour the facility because I'm one of those nerds who loves arenas. I love like the interesting things about it. So I'm ready for it.
No better one in the league, man.
That's right. That's
no
right.
better arena.
It's amazing.
In the league.
It really is. Sure. Yeah. We know you're in demand these days. Thank you very much for your time. I mean, we appreciate it. Hope to talk to you soon.
No problem. Anytime, guys.
All right, my man. I'll talk to you. All right.
There we go. All right. Yeah. Not the most popular guest we've had.
I wonder if this is his
Kings
first
fans.
Sacramento interview since that
might be
situation.
Yeah. Sounds like things got a little sideways there. I didn't get all the references on the chat to coffee orders.
I don't know.
I guess people are saying all he did with the Suns is go get coffee for people.
Yeah, I'm on his Real GM page.
Yeah,
assistant director of basketball ops. But here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. about this conversation that we just had with Amin Elhassan. I'm of the belief if you got a problem, and if that's why I wanted Amin on.
Let's deal with it.
Let's deal with it. Let's talk. All right.
Yeah.
Give me your point of view, Amin. Fans aren't going to agree with it, but give me your point of view. All right. And that's why I had to shoot back at him when he said, you can't compare De'Aaron back in 2020 with Ja Morant in 2020. The Grizzlies and Kings rosters at that time were totally different. And so that's why I wanted to say that and have him on. And obviously he's in the news now with that wicked jump shot of his. And so, no, it was
Thank
a good
you
interview.
for lining that up.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we come back, let's have an honest conversation about the officiating Saturday night. Why don't we do that with the Drive Guys on Sactown Sports?